Okay, day 137, part 2. More news on the Awan brothers. You're going to find that these rat lines I've been talking about that were overt, that the Muslim Brotherhood ran, are going to be the same rat lines that the Gulen movement, the underground covert rat lines are going to be. So you're going to find not only the drugs, but you're going to find the sex trafficking and so forth, as well as the information trafficking and spying, unfortunately. So I'll get right to the news. You probably have seen this story already, but Daily Caller came out with this story saying that the three Awan brothers, kept the mother of the Awan brothers' father, the stepmother, kept her in captivity for, I believe, a long period of time, it says in the article. There was a police report filed for this. And she could not speak English, so she was kind of at the mercy. This is a home in Springfield, Virginia, and the address is 6314 Thomas Drive. So this was the home right here. This is another street picture of it over here. This was the home of Muhammad Awan, which was the father, and Abid Awan, which was one of the brothers. So that's who bought the home. That's where the home is registered. So what the mother said was that she finally called the police in January. She was afraid to say anything. She was at the house. The brothers were keeping her at the house. The father was gone. They said he was in the hospital. And finally, she called the police, and they came over, and they said, the boys said that they had power of attorney, but it was unsigned. But they said they were taking money from the father's cash and moving it to offshore accounts in Pakistan. So there's a lot of money flowing out of the United States, out of U.S. bank accounts in Washington, D.C., back to Pakistan. I wonder if that sounds familiar of another Awan, Amjad Awan. Anyway, so if you go to Imran, and anyway, the story ends with the stepmother saying, they all grabbed his laptops and all of his personal effects and took off to Pakistan. So the stepmother is saying they all went to Pakistan. Well, okay. So I just looked up Imran Awan, and sure enough, there is one in Pakistan, and there's a father named Muhammad Shah. So I thought that was interesting. It was about the right age. I think he's in his mid-50s or something like that. And I think Imran is 32, 33. Maybe he's as old as 36. I don't know how old he is. But it turns out that the father, it says right there, PM Shah, for Pir Muhammad Shah. This is Pir Muhammad Shah's Facebook. That he's the head of PSP. Well, PSP, I won't go into all the details, but the CIA loves these three-letter political organizations. And the ISI, which is the intelligence service for Pakistan, created the PSP at the behest of the CIA. I know it's a lot of three-letter soup, but basically it was created about a year ago. And I believe that he was in Washington during the planning stages last year when the PSP was being formed. And this is basically two things. It's a political party, and then they also have a responsibility for a certain area to police. So he's on the policing side of it. But there's also a terrorism side to the PSP, which is this SSP. I think you're going to find the SSP is this terrorism arm. And the terrorism arm is what guards the drug rat lines. So you got both here. You got the police leaving them alone, and then you have the rebels running the rat lines. The only thing you need to be sure that you don't get your rebels killed is you need intelligence being gathered in the United States about when there's going to be drone strikes and so forth by the U.S. military. That's going to be a key thing that you're going to need if you're going to run a drug rat line up through the different stands over to Turkey that I was talking about earlier. So, and you can see Imran here. He has lots and lots of pictures of the police. He has lots of pictures of religious clerics making very violent statements. He has a lot of pictures about youth and recruiting for military and so forth. A lot of religious iconography, very radical version of Islam. Now, Gulen also in his schools, I mean, one of the school problems, for mathematics in Gulen schools is if a Muslim kills 10 infidels, or if there's 10 infidels and a Muslim kills 5, how many infidels are left? So, I mean, even Gulen has kind of a radicalized version of Islam that he trains in his madrasas. But here's his ticket. Here's Imran's ticket to Lahore. This is a little choo-choo train going backwards if you read left to right here. And he posted it on his website. And it's January the 29th, so, or the 27th. I can't exactly read it. So I'm wondering if that was his ticket home. It's right there for all to see. He even bears a resemblance to Imran. He posted that picture of a very close-up of someone that was in those services. So again, I'm just speculating a little bit. And the other thing I didn't really like was this grade school being so close. So I'm just wondering if these abductions in Virginia, especially Springfield, Virginia, near the Key Middle School, I just wonder if there's been any abductions in that area, or new Pakistani kids being adopted in that area. The flow could be either way. Kids could be going in either directions. The drugs are definitely coming this way into the United States. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm keep going backwards, but Imran is still on the payroll of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, which is interesting. If we had a person working for ISIS that was on our payroll in the House of Representatives. So I haven't really looked at the comments here, but I think that Imran is going to be more that policing type of guy, and he's going to be chauffeuring these different experts coming into the United States. And this Hillary spy network here are going to be these people that are experts in different things. Now, he's a wireless expert, and he actually had military training in his background. I just didn't have a place to put it here. Mohammed Hunzla. And then they just add Awan on the end for everybody they shuttle in and out. But the mother, the stepmother who was trapped in that house, said that they had the ability to tap her phone and know what she was talking about. So she says that right in the article. So my hunch on the wireless tapping was correct. I think my hunch here on the Spectrum Health is going to be correct as well. If Mr. Foer turns over the IP address, I think you're going to find that this is where the hacking activity came from that Grand Rapids location. And again, you don't need a FOIA if you have the Awan brothers. Or the Gulen, if you have the whole Gulen set of Awan brothers, you don't need to hack. Now, the other big piece of information that came out about Feta Gulen, and I kind of knew this before, but it's good to have the verification from the press. This came out in USA Today. Mike Flynn was paid $533,000 by Erdogan. You don't get paid $530,000, just to express your opinion. You get paid for what you know. And he exposed the coup that Gulen was going to run. This is the Hillary Gulen coup for Erdogan. The reason why they wanted Erdogan out of there is because Erdogan has cut off the five stands, and Azerbaijan Express, the Turkish Midnight Express, the drug route from Pakistan through to Turkey. And so this is the Pakistani end of it, and this is the Turkish end of it, and that's what's going on here. And I don't think Mike Flynn knew the day of when it was going to happen, but I think Mike Flynn did tell Erdogan, hey, it's going to look like this. The planes are going to fly from Incirlik. They're going to bomb the parliament in Ankara. They're going to have a radio information program to say that you're dead or that you're in hiding, etc. And here's how it's going to work. And then it was all that was left was for Putin to listen to see when the thing was launched, and then they could warn Erdogan. So that just came out. The problem is that this is just going to backfire. If the Senate Republicans go after Flynn, it's just going to all backfire. And again, I'm going back to the history of all this. Amjad Awan back at BCCI. This is all old news of doing the drug trafficking and money laundering. That's all I'll probably cover right now. But like I said, this is coming back on Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Adam Schiff, Jackie Spear. They're just bringing it back on themselves. There's these big muddy footprints that you've got the burglaries, you've got everything. It can no longer be ignored by MSM and the media. And Daily Caller is on it with their investigative piece. I think with the pieces that I'm throwing out there today, they're going to be able to drill down on when the Awans actually went back to Pakistan. It's going to be about the 26th or 27th. Homeland Security picks this up now. We go to the visas. We start looking at the processing of visas. and we start looking at passport stamps, and it's pretty much all over. The last thing I was going to say is you're going to find the visas are going to be Amran Khan, okay, or Khizr Khan, excuse me.